Going to talk about all things blogging. Around 12 years ago, I started this whole adventure with just a simple blog, so I feel this is super important to talk about, especially since the blogging sphere has changed a lot and there are multiple platforms that you can use today to really launch your website and launch your online career. So today I'm going to share 8 need to know tips before you start a website or before you start your blog, and what platform to start your blog on. Let's start with a little introduction to blogging and having a website. Because for every business right now, I always find it super weird if a business doesn't have a website. So if you want to be professional and you want to have people sign up to something, get knowledge and get to know you, a website is truly crucial because your website is your calling card, especially in these days. I don't need to tell you how important having a website is. You don't need to hear me say that it is the only thing that you need, and it's also not something that you need from day one. But having a website or having a blog really can help you look more professional and make you stand out from the crowd. If you have a professional looking website, it will take other people not long to see that you are professional and that they should work with you or at least get your value, get your knowledge. Especially this episode or this show is very important for influencers or content creators because yes, you have multiple platforms like YouTube or Instagram where you can share all your information, but having a website connected to this will make you look a lot more professional and give you that brand awareness that you're looking for. And if I'm talking about having it professional, what I advise you to do, and don't make the mistake that I did, is hiring a professional to help you with designing your website. So a great way to invest in yourself and in your website is by hiring a web designer or paying someone that has more knowledge than you to even revamp your website to make it look as if it is from this date. Most blog hosting platforms do offer free templates that anyone can use. But getting together with someone to create a design that represents you and your style and personalize your site to share with your readers will make you stand out, will make you more unique. And online branding is super important when your voice can be carried by your website and how your website looks and feels. The overall experience that you want to give your audience starts also on your website. You can have the most beautiful Instagram, but if your website is not connected with your brand, it's not going to have the effect that you're looking for. So that's why for me, hiring a professional and really taking your online brand seriously will help you in the long term with blogging. So before we look at all the different platforms where you can host your blog, I want to share with you 8 tips that I have gathered in the 12 years that I've had a blog and a website. I've had these tips from personal experience, so I hope they're going to help you when you do decide to start blogging or to have a website for your business. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about is deciding on your blog name or in general your brand name. Keep in mind that you want to use this name on all online platforms. So you need to make sure that your name is available on Pinterest, on Instagram, on Facebook, and that your domain name is still open for you to register on. So make sure that you check this before you start your website or before you start your Instagram, because for me, those two go hand in hand. The second need to know tip is that you need, as I talked about before, create a theme, create a branding. What colors are you thinking about? Where do you want to have your sidebar? What little extras do you want to include on your website? Because it's important to think about how you want to have your branding before you start creating. Believe me, it's going to save you time and money if you do hire someone, if you have this team and this branding already ready for yourself. Then the third thing that I want you to think about is your niche. What kind of niche are you going to start in? If you already have this figured out by your social media presence, make sure that it's also very clear on your website. And not only by your copywriting, but also the way that you design your website is going to help your readers see what kind of platform you are creating. Are you just having a landing page to sell something? Do you want to have readers going through your website in terms of blog articles? Are you going to sell them a course? Make sure that you have this niche ready before you start. Ask yourself what your passions are so that you have an idea of what kind of content, and we're going to talk about this more now, what kind of content you can create for your website and for your blog. So once you've chosen your niche and you have your team and your branding, now let's create a topic list before you start designing. So write down topics that you can create articles or content around. So for me, I do this every couple of months. I write down a whole bunch of topics that I'm going to research or that I'm going to talk about to my audience. And I ask my audience also what kind of topics they would like to get content on. So in this case, it's going to be articles that you're going to write for them in your expertise. So after choosing everything, jot down the topics and make sure that you can go deeper. So if your topic is travel, what kind of travel, what kind of destination? If your topic for blogging is fashion tips, for what kind of person are you writing these articles, and keep your avatar in mind. The next tip that I want to share with you, and this is very basic for me, but when I first started out 12 years ago, this was something that I had to learn by myself, and that is learning basic copywriting and photography. So make sure that you either take a class somewhere, do a lot of research in terms of how do I write copywriting that is easy to read for my people, that has good SEO value, search engine optimization, so that people can find your content. There is no point in creating content just for the sake of creating content, because you will not reach the people that you want to. And the next thing that I also highly suggest that you look into is photography, because you want to have photos that go along with your topics, with your articles that you're going to write. So if you have a basic knowledge of copywriting and photography, it will get you a very long way. If you're here in the academy, we're going to have some training sessions regarding copywriting and regarding photography. So if you're looking for that and it's not there already, let me know so I can create them for you. I do have a whole list of resources regarding copywriting, and I do have some photography tips that I can share, as well as some experts that I really want to have talking to you as well. But the main thing when you start blogging or when you start a website is that you keep on learning. YouTube and Google was my best friend when I started my blog. I Googled and researched everything from A to Z, and the how-to videos on how to do something were really lifesavers, because I've built all my websites from scratch myself. A long time ago, and I still know how things work. I still have a really good understanding about all the technical things that go along with starting a blog or starting a website. But don't be afraid to keep on learning, because it's a never-ending process, believe me. Then the seventh thing that I want to talk about is having a marketing strategy, because you probably already have thought about your blog name, the design, and you have everything ready, but then getting that traffic to your blog is what's going to help you stand out, and it's also going to motivate you to create more content. So have a marketing strategy ready for your website or your blog. Decide on how you're going to market your new website to get that traffic. Do you want to focus on Pinterest marketing? Do you want to focus on Instagram? Do you want to have articles every month, every week, every day? Have a strategy set up so that it's for you easier to follow this plan, so that it all feels more doable. Because believe me, starting a blog, starting a website is a lot of work, and it takes a lot of your time. And some people underestimate how much work it actually is. Until this day, I still have a travel website and I still have my own website, but to be honest, on my own website, I rarely have time to create content for it. And for the travel website, it takes me a few hours a week to get content out there, only on the blog section and only in articles. And I'm not talking about all the marketing that goes along with having a website and driving traffic through it. So make sure that you have a plan and that you have a strategy so that it's easier and doable for you to follow those. And the last thing that I want to talk about is decide on the platform to host your website on and to really drive traffic to. So this is one of the things that I want to talk to you about, because there are a lot of resources around what kind of platforms you can use for having your blog. But I want to talk about the personal experiences that I had, and I want to highlight the pros and cons of the different platforms that you have right now. So it's really important that you evaluate what you want from a blogging platform and ways in which you will allow you to continue to grow your content over time. Because switching your content from one platform to another can be time consuming and a bit of a hassle, because trust me, I've done it before. Make sure you try to choose a platform that feels good for you and that you will be able to stick with for a while. And one you can transform into a true reflection of who you are and what your content includes, because not every platform works well for every kind of blog or website. Okay. Next step, factors to consider when you're going to decide between a platform. The first thing that you want to keep in mind is the easy way of usage. Have you tried blogging before? Can you handle the platform? How are you with complicated interfaces? All of these things will help you decide what kind of platform will work for you. The second thing to consider is the cost. What's your budget? Would you like to have it billed monthly, annually? Would you like to start for free? You'll eventually have to invest in your blog, just keeping it real here, if you want to grow and if you want to monetize it in the future. But you can start for free. Like, there are platforms where you can start for free, so no worries about that as well. Then you need to keep in mind if the platform that you're going to choose has the opportunity to monetize. Because if you want to earn eventually from your blog, you need to make sure that the platform that you have your website on has that opportunity and allows it. Do you have the chance to dive into affiliate marketing? Does it allow you to post ads on it? So those things you need to know before you register your blog anywhere. And then the last thing, and for me this is the most important thing to keep in mind, the options for customization. So does the platform have a wide range of plugins and themes for you to choose from? Do you need that many options, or do you want to have a basic website? So all of these 4 factors you need to consider before you start your website. And we're going to look at these in a moment. I'm going to have the pros and cons of every platform, and I have them based around these 4 factors. I want to mention that all prices that I'm going to mention are from February 2019 and can vary depending on when you're listening or when you're watching this video. So let's dive right in. The top blogging platforms as of today are WordPress.org, WordPress.com, yes, there is a difference, Blogger, Wix, and Squarespace. I'm not going to dive into Shopify, because for me, Shopify is more a website if you're going to have a web shop. So I'm not going to talk about that, but I might do a specific video on Shopify because I have experience with it. But for blogging and for just starting a website, these platforms will work very, very well for you. So let's see. The first one, WordPress.org, is my first one. It's also my favorite. It's the one I've been been with for 12 years now. So for me, this is the best known platform for me. But I want to talk about with you the pros and cons, because obviously it also has some cons and the pricing as well. So what is WordPress.org? It is the most popular blogging platform around. It's also one of the most known platforms for having a website in general. It has the self-hosted option. All my websites are self-hosted on a server with its own domain name. So that is something separate from WordPress.org. This is something you need to do by yourself, and then you have to install WordPress on this domain on your server and work from there. And it is an open source software platform, which means it has a lot of customization. And for me, this is the best thing ever. So let's talk about the pros of WordPress.org. You'll have complete control over your website. You are the sole owner of your website, and you decide how it's going to look like and how it's going to work. So there is also a wide range of themes and plugins. A lot of them are free. You have some premium ones that you can choose from, but for the basic beginner with blogging or any website, all the free tools and plugins that you have and the themes are going to be enough for you. I do have a lot of premium plugins right now on my website just because I need them, and still the pay for the plugins is very, very good considered to some other platforms as well. WordPress.org is very search engine friendly, very SEO friendly, so that's good for you to drive traffic. The software itself is free, so using WordPress.org on your server is free. You just need to pay your hosting and your domain name, but that's something that's separate, like I said, from WordPress. And then there's a detailed amount of support and tutorials found over the web. Like I said, for me, Googling and YouTubing the hell out of how WordPress.org works has been a lifesaver. I've been able to create all my website myself with all the help from other people who made how-to videos for me. Then there are some cons to WordPress.org. It's not as easy to learn as its sister site WordPress.com, which is a different kind of a service. To be honest, I prefer WordPress.org and have the learning curve because, like I said, I've been with them for 12 years. And once you know the platform, once you know how it works, they pretty much stayed the same over the past 12 years. So it's definitely worth investing your time in getting to know this. But you'll have to maintain your website all on your own. So you need to be able to know how a server works, how register a domain name works, how setting up email accounts work. But if you do decide to do this, if you figure out a good hosting for your website, we call it a hosting, that will save you a lot of time and hassle because they can do those things for you if you decide to go with a good one, a higher paid one. The pricing for WordPress.org, like I said, it's free for users, but you have to buy your own domain name and hosting from a third-party provider. So you make it as costly as you want to. You have a variety of hosting providers, so you can pick and choose whatever works best for you. And I'm probably going to do a whole separate video about domain and hosting from third-party providers because I've been through some hoops with those as well, so I probably have lots to share about that topic as well. So that was WordPress.org. The next one is WordPress.com. It is different, so make sure that if you sign up that it's either .org or .com. .com has the difference, meaning it's a self-hosted platform. So it is from the same designer or the same founder of how you call it, but here it is hosted for you. So it's popular for the options it provides for simple free blog creation and maintenance. So you can have a WordPress.com website for free, but you'll have a domain name that says lalila.wordpress.com. So you don't have your own domain name. It's not possible with WordPress.com. The pros here are there is a free option perfect for beginners who want to get a feel of the platform. So when I first started out, I had WordPress.com just because the first 6 months I wanted to make sure that I wanted blogging, that I wanted a website, and that I was going to keep up with it before I invested in it. So you do have a free version if you want to. It is a super simple way to jumpstart your blog as the platform already have almost everything that you need, such as hosting service, the ability to have your own custom domain. But then again, you're very restricted when you do that, and the prices are higher than you would pay somewhere else. But let's not go into the cons right now. You do have a detailed amount of support and tutorials like you have with WordPress.org, but here you are limited because you have the free version, so you cannot implement all the things that you can with the .org WordPress platform. The cons are of WordPress.com. There's no way of selling your own ads, so it's one less option when it comes to monetizing your blog. Blogs with high traffic can apply for word ads where you'll be sharing revenue with WordPress. So know that WordPress.com kind of owns your website, so it makes it a little bit more difficult when it comes to monetizing your blog in the long run. And it is not as customizable as its sister site WordPress.org. Options such as the custom theme, plugins, editing, HTML are not available on WordPress.com. And if you are going to have a very successful blog and that's your goal, WordPress.com doesn't have the options that you're going to need. But the pricing, as I said, you can start for free, get a feel of how it works, and get yourself comfortable with how it works, because the behind the scenes of WordPress.com and WordPress.org are very, very similar. The prices for a personal account are $4 a month. For a premium account, it's $8 a month. And for a business account, billed yearly is $25 a month. You can have something on WordPress.org for the same price or less or more depending on what you're looking for. So that was all about WordPress. As I said, WordPress.org is my favorite. WordPress.com is just where I started. Let's look at the next one. Blogger. Blogger is the oldest platform that is ever started with having your own website and blogging, writing articles. So that's pretty cool to me. At some point, I did have a Blogger account. I did have a Blogger website. It was back when I was like 15, so a lot of years ago. It was very fun, but they're very limited. So there's a difference between Blogger and Blogspot. Those get compared a lot, but Blogger is a publishing platform, while Blogspot is a domain server provided that are both owned by Google, and both are also used together on the Blogger platform. So Blogspot is where you host your domain. That's where you have your name, for example, stephaniesmolders.blogspot.com. It's the same as with WordPress. You don't have your own domain. You have a .blogspot domain created when you set up a Blogger account. Okay, the pros, most budget-friendly solution because it is completely free. It is very easy to get started with, and you can manage the site easily for yourself. It's really the perfect platform for beginners. There's no installation issues as it's hosted by Google, so that makes it very easy. And monetizing the blog is easy with Google AdSense and Google AdWords. So you have those pros because, of course, Google is the search engine that you have. So having a Blogger website, a Blogger blog has a lot of pros, but it obviously comes with some cons as well. It is a free publishing platform with no other premium options. So this may be a good thing, but it also means that when you sign up, it is what you get, limiting features. Basic coding knowledge may be required if you don't want to stick to the simple themes offered by the platform. So WordPress has a lot of free themes and a lot of customization, even if you have a free version, but Blogger is limited to that. Just make sure that you know that. And Google has a hold over your site and can cancel your blog anytime. So Google is basically the owner of your website and you're just creating the content. Just know that I've heard from friends in the blogging world that their blogger was just taken down because they didn't like some of the content. So you do have that possibility that that might happen to you. But Blogger is completely free, so if you're just still starting out, it might be a platform to get your toes wet into the world, and it is very easy to set up. Next one, let's look at Wix. Wix is a new player. It has been around a few years, but it wasn't around when I started. It is a hosted platform. It is cloud-based web building platform. So that makes it super easy because everything is saved on the cloud, which makes it very easy. If something happens, you can always access it. Prides itself for its user-friendliness. It is very user-friendly. In a few clicks, you do have your Wix website set up, but there is some tweaking to do. It's perfect for those who don't have prior coding knowledge or design knowledge because they do have really good designs. To be honest, I really like their designs and sometimes I wish it was that easy on WordPress. So you can start with 500 megabytes of storage and 1 gigabyte of bandwidth with a free Wix account. So you do get a little bit of a limited amount of storage, but if you're just starting out, that's probably enough for you. The pros, the customization of the website layout is easy as you'll only have to drag and drop, so there are no coding skills needed. And depending on how good you are with your designs, they do have a lot of designs options just already plug and play for you. You just have to click and it automatically makes it pretty for you. So there's a wide range of aesthetically pleasing layouts to choose from, which makes it super easy to set up your website in just a few hours with copywriting and everything. The cons of this platform is the free version of Wix has its Wix logos and features are limited. So if you're looking at branding, having the Wix logo there isn't really good for your branding, and in the long term you don't want to have that. So you won't be able to change the template after choosing it the first time. So once you've chosen your template, your design, it is very complicated to change it. There are ways around it, but it is just complicated. Then the pricing, you can add a custom domain to your free Wix website for $4.50 a month, or you can have a premium plan with more features for $8.50 to higher prices a month. So depending on what you're looking for, prices may vary. But it is a good option. If you're just looking for an easy website, plug and play, Wix is definitely really good. Then another newcomer is Squarespace. It's one of the newer blogging platforms. It is very detailed orientated, so I really like that it has a really good website builder. It's known for its top quality designer templates and its easy customizable options. So it is even more aesthetically pleasing than Wix is, so it has even more option and it looks amazing. I've seen really beautiful high-end Squarespace websites, and you have no problem with hosting your own website. And for me, that is a super pro compared to Wix, that Squarespace does have this option. So the pros are, like Wix, building a website is super easy, and there isn't a steep learning curve. It's just plug and play. So it's drag and drop content builder. You have a lot of beautiful layouts available. It's easy in use. It's not that hard to have a really professional looking website. You don't need a designer for Squarespace. You can do that yourself. There is a free domain name with annual purchase. So if you decide to go with Squarespace and you take on an annual subscription, you do get a free domain name. So that's a pro. The cons of Squarespace, it can get really pricey. So the cheapest plan is $12 monthly, and this is if the user chooses to be billed yearly. For monthly billing, we are looking at $16 a month. To give you a price, I pay around $40 a year for all my websites together. So that's a different price plan than when you're looking at Squarespace, but it is, like I said, very easy to start with. There are no free options with Squarespace, and there is a limited plug-in. So there are only around 190 external plugins, while if you're looking at WordPress, you have over 100,000. So there is a big difference. Like Blogger, Squarespace does own your site, and you are just a user of the platform. So if at one point you want to become the next news website, or you're going to have a lot of visitors, Squarespace might not be for you because you don't own anything, basically. The pricing we already discussed. Personal starts from $12 a month, and a business pricing starts from $18 a month if it's billed annually. So there is a big price difference here and there. So that were all the platforms that I wanted to talk about today. I'm very, very curious if you're planning on having a blog, which platform you are going to choose. So let me know if you have decided what platform you're going to start your blog on. Like I said, it's not that easy to migrate your blog from one platform to the other. So make sure that you select the right one when you start. And yeah, thank you very much for watching this Social Bee. I hope you're having an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next training. Have an amazing day.